Can you have the person come back? I would like to report, and I would like to file a report against her.
I didn't touch you, man.
Not that long ago, and I can't stand another man touching me!
What's up, fellas? In this video, we dive into the dramatic story of a Karen who faced unexpected and severe consequences for her disruptive behavior. Watch as we break down how her actions led to a hefty price to pay and the impact it had on her life. Moving on to the first case, we have a particularly wild story involving a seemingly normal neighbor dispute that quickly escalated into all-out chaos. Buckle up as we explore the story of a woman, commonly referred to as Karen, who made a drastic decision that led to a series of violent and unexpected events. On June 3rd, 2024, the incident began with an act of frustration and defiance in a suburban Florida neighborhood. The central character in our story, referred to in the media as Karen, decided to take matters into her own hands. The woman, frustrated by what she perceived as unfair treatment or ongoing disputes with her neighbors, reached a breaking point. Her frustration culminated in a desperate and drastic act. She slashed her neighbor's tires. This situation began with a seemingly simple act of vandalism. The slashing of the tire was seen as a form of protest or revenge. Karen, feeling offended, believed that this act would somehow balance the scales or give her a sense of justice. Little did she know that this decision would set off a chain reaction of events that would spiral far beyond her control. When the neighbor discovered the damaged tire, the situation quickly escalated. And the initial shock and frustration of having their property vandalized was compounded by anger and a sense of personal violation. This reaction was more than a quiet complaint or a phone call to the authorities. No, it sparked a much more violent reaction. In a dramatic turn of events, the neighbors break into Karen's home. What begins as a confrontation with her over tires escalates into an illegal invasion of her property. The scene quickly becomes chaotic as emotions run high. The neighbors in a rage assault Karen, and the confrontation is no longer just about the damaged tire. It is now about brutal, unrestrained violence.
Get her ass, Maya! Get her ass! Get her ass, Maya! Get her ass, Maya! Yeah! Fuck that bitch up! I'm like, so, bitch! Fuck you talking about, bitch!
Get her ass! Mother first up, elbow her! Elbow! Who's an elbow? Where is that?
Get this bitch! Get this bitch! Get this bitch! Come on, y'all! Get the fuck out! Look at you, man! Hold this!
Good!
The violence reaches a boiling point when the neighbors not only attack Karen but also attempt to steal her belongings. Among their targets is her television, a symbol of their invasion of her personal space. This act of theft further escalates the situation, transforming it from a simple neighborly dispute into a full-blown criminal case. Police later arrived on the scene and Karen was arrested. The arrest was a natural consequence of her initial act of vandalism. However, the story does not end with her arrest. The actions of her neighbors, including break-ins, assaults, and thefts, also attracted attention. The question is, will they face legal consequences for their overreaction? This chaotic situation highlights the complexity of neighborhood disputes and the potential for small conflicts to escalate into major confrontations. It serves as a stark reminder of the importance of resolving conflicts through appropriate and legal channels rather than resorting to violence and vandalism. Under Florida Statutes 806.01 property vandalism is defined as intentionally damaging or destroying another person's property. This may include cracking, breaking, or otherwise damaging the property without the owner's consent. The act must be done with the intent to damage or destroy another person's property. Karen's act of intentionally slashing her neighbor's tires to express her displeasure puts her in violation of this law. If the total damage caused by the act is less than $1,000, the property vandalism can be prosecuted as a first-degree misdemeanor. Penalties may include up to 1 year in jail and/or a fine of up to $1,000. According to Florida Statute Section 784.03 battery, the crime of battery is defined as intentionally causing unwanted physical contact with another person without the victim's consent. The elements of battery include that the defendant must have done the act with the intent to cause physical contact to occur. Battery can include causing physical injury to the victim or just unwanted physical contact that does not cause injury. Maybe the woman's actions in hitting Karen to the point of bleeding violated the framework of this law. If the battery results in serious injury, such as broken bones or permanent damage, the act can be prosecuted as a second-degree felony. The maximum sentence for this statute is 10 years in prison and or a fine of up to $10,000. Finally, in the video, we can see that the neighbors have broken into Karen's home. In section 810.02 burglary, this is the crime of breaking into another person's property with the intent to commit a crime or other illegal act. Burglary can include entering a dwelling, office, or other protected area without the owner's permission. If the defendant breaks into a dwelling without committing an additional crime, such as theft or injury, then this crime can be prosecuted as a second-degree felony. The maximum sentence is 10 years in prison and or a fine of up to $10,000. Karma for this Karen was wild, but wait until you see this next one. Our story begins on January 2nd, 2020, a United Airlines flight from Las Vegas to Newark. The scene was set for a routine flight, but it quickly devolved into a disturbing public display of ridicule and conflict. The incident centered on a blonde woman sitting in the middle seat of her row who decided to voice her grievances loudly and unrestrainedly. The woman, whose identity has not been made public, was seated between two passengers she described as overweight. Her complaints, which she broadcast on her cell phone for all to hear, were far from discreet. She openly criticized the people sitting next to her, making derogatory comments about their size and expressing her discomfort at having them sitting next to her.
I'm stuck, but at least they'll keep me warm.
Please, okay?
Where?
Get up the window.
Find me a window. Get me out of here. I gotta play that thing.
Among those seated nearby was a registered nurse from New Jersey who was unfortunately verbally abused by the other woman. And frustrated by the situation, the nurse decided to record the encounter. She recorded the woman's rude and inappropriate remarks, capturing a moment that quickly gained widespread attention online.
Ladies and gentlemen, when you find your seat, if you wouldn't mind stepping out of the aisle to allow those passengers behind you to pass. Thank you so much. This will expedite our boarding process.
Can you find her another seat? Because I will not be verbally abused by this or anybody else.
Yes.
I will not be verbally abused by anybody. I'm not tolerating it.
I can't sit here because it's both so big. I'm left and right. I can't even sit here.
The nurse's video was posted to Facebook and quickly went viral. In just a few days, it had been viewed more than 2 million times. The footage showed the extent of the woman's behavior, cruel jokes, and harsh criticism directed at those sitting next to her, all broadcast for the world to see. In an interview, the nurse described her shock and disbelief at the woman's behavior. She recounted how the verbal abuse became increasingly personal and offensive. Although initially mildly annoying, the situation escalated to the point where she felt compelled to seek help from flight attendants. The flight attendants, alerted to the disturbance, attempted to resolve the matter by finding the woman another seat. The move was an attempt to defuse the situation and restore some sense of normalcy to the flight. However, the woman's behavior caused significant disruption and discomfort to passengers. Passengers who witnessed the incident were horrified. Many spoke out in protest, condemning the woman's actions and expressing their discomfort with the situation. The crew's attempt to resolve the conflict was met with mixed reactions as the situation had escalated beyond simple resolution.
Kiss my fat ass, okay? Excuse me, who do I report her to? Can you have the person come back? I would like to report and I would like to file a report against her.
Conflict resolution experts have weighed in on the incident, offering insights into the dynamics of the situation. They believe the woman made a serious error in handling her discomfort. Rather than privately address the issue or seek a private seat change, she chose to publicly shame other passengers. The decision not only exacerbated the conflict, but also drew undue attention to the situation. The viral nature of the video sparked outrage and widespread discussion on social media. Many users expressed disgust at the woman's behavior, calling it disgusting and disgusting. When the flight landed, the woman was removed from the plane, her behavior reaching a level where the airline felt action was warranted. The incident serves as a stark reminder of the importance of maintaining respect and civility, even in confined spaces like a plane. In Aviation Security Act 49 U.S., code SS46502. Under this law, conduct that causes a disturbance, or threat to the safety of an aircraft can be criminally prosecuted. This includes acts such as assault, threats, or interference with the operation of the aircraft cabin. The law includes conduct that causes a disturbance, disrupts the conduct of other passengers, or interferes with the normal operation of the flight. Karen's actions violated this law. Under this provision, conduct that causes a disturbance or threat to the safety of an aircraft can be prosecuted. Those convicted can face lengthy prison sentences, heavy fines, or both. Let's move on to the final case when Karen cut in line and then freaked out when someone said something. This is the story of a woman's catastrophic breakdown at a Walmart store after cutting in line at the checkout. What started out as a trivial event escalated into a scene that left everyone involved stunned. It all started on September 24th, 2022 at a Walmart in California, a store known for its wide selection and unfortunately sometimes long checkout lines. Shoppers were shopping, lining up to pay for their items. The atmosphere was generally calm, but that would soon be shattered. In the midst of this routine, a woman decided to deviate from the norm. She approached the checkout with a sense of urgency, quickly drawing the attention of those around her. However, this urgency was not from an emergency situation, but from the simple act of cutting in line.
I didn't touch you, man.
Not that long ago, and I can't stand another man touching me!
Well, no one did that.
She had cut in front of other customers, bypassing the orderly queue that everyone else had patiently followed. As the woman moved forward, the reactions of those around her ranged from confusion to annoyance. And people began to voice their displeasure, pointing out that she had cut in line. The tension was palpable as customers began to speak up, criticizing her unfair actions. The situation escalated quickly. The woman, now clearly agitated, began to deny any wrongdoing. She insisted that she had not touched anyone or cut in line, despite the increasingly vocal crowd and mounting evidence to the contrary. Her denials only added to the frustration of other shoppers. As the chaos continued, Walmart employees intervened to try to calm the situation. They approached the woman, trying to calm her down and restore order. Despite their efforts, the situation remained tense. And the woman's refusal to admit her mistake only made it harder for the employees to manage the situation effectively. Karen kept screaming that she had done nothing wrong and that the customers were accusing her. And even yelled at the man who had filmed the video, made her feel scared because he had touched her when, in fact, the person filming had done nothing.
Well, I just asked her if she saw anyone in line.
The crowd of shoppers were both upset and concerned. Some were upset by the disruption and the delay it caused in their own checkout process, while others were concerned about the overall safety of the situation. Indeed, the disruption not only affected the immediate checkout experience, but also created an unpleasant atmosphere for everyone around her. The woman eventually apologized, but by this point, her previous actions had left a lasting impression. Her apology seemed insincere to many as the man expressed that she did not feel guilty for cutting in line, and Karen cursed at the man, justifying that she had not seen him. The clerk had to direct the cameraman to another line to ease Karen's tension, during which Karen continued to yell and chase the man away like a madman. According to California Penal Code Section 242, physical assault. Physical assault is defined as the use of direct force or force against another person without their consent, resulting in physical contact or injury. This may include hitting, punching, pushing, or any action that causes another person to endure unwanted physical contact. Karen's actions of throwing objects at other customers to express her displeasure fall within the scope of this section. If convicted of misdemeanor physical assault, penalties may include fines of up to $1,000 and or up to 6 months in jail. Alright fellas, what do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to subscribe for more interesting and educational content in the future. Thanks for your sub.